Isn't that like a saying? It's like haters are it's just like a something about love. Like it's a misconstrued conception of love or something.
I have no idea. Possibly. I get called a hater a lot every time I talk about any Yankees judge, whatever. If I wear a Dodgers hat and talk about anyone else, I'm a hater. It can't win.
Why is he wearing a Cardinals hat? I thought you were a Dodgers fan. You're a fake. Yeah. All right,
No
bro.
doubt.
Kick rocks.
What's up, guys? I am here with a new addition to the team, baby. The new Baseball Dugout, hold my ball. That's me, but Baseball Dugout umbrella. Sheffield Shuffler, you probably know him. You've probably seen him. I lured him into this with I threw a nice hook out there with some bait on it and said, "Get on over here, baby." And now here we are. How you doing, man?
Like a stranger with candy.
That's it, right? Get in this van.
Just wait until I was 18 years old, you dirty little man.
Hey, man, glad to have you here. Man. I know this opens the door for us to do all kinds of content, back and forth convos, and I'm looking forward to it. And I know today we're looking at the power rankings of the MLB late in the season where they actually matter a little bit.
Yeah, man. It's August 25th. We're coming into the last week of August here. You can feel it in the air, dude. I can feel the postseason, the air starting to cool off. Meaningful baseball is starting. So every night, it's not the middle of, June anymore. Like we got some meaningful baseball, playoff implications, wild card implications. I'm excited, man. We got some power rankings here. We can see like if you agree, disagree, kind of like what you think about these clubs.
Yeah, we'll roll through them. I'm going to propose this right now. Can we call like, what are we in, August? Can we call September, even though it's a little earlier than that, it starts earlier, but can we just start with September and call it the pre-postseason? Because this is the postseason.
Yeah.
These teams are fighting to get there. It's when the real baseball, you look at the first 140 games and go, all right, where do we sit now? Now we have an idea. This is the pre-postseason is what we're in. That's what I'm going to call it. September 1st starts the pre-postseason.
The appetizer.
That's it, man. Let's
cocktail
go.
Hour. Best part of the wedding, by the way.
Yeah, it is. Huh? Let's start. Let's do the first. Let's do 4 at a time. 4, and then we'll get to the 2 and 1. So let's start with 10 through 7.
Okay.
See what we think.
Backwards.
Yeah, let's start at the bottom and work our way up.
Starting at the bottom, we have number 10, the New York Yankees. New York Yankees embarrassed by the Red Sox throughout their series. Yankees are 6-19 against AL East teams, just AL teams with better records than they have. 6-19, so they cannot win against teams that have a winning record in the AL. Terrible. They do have 3-game sets against the last place Nationals and 3 more against the White Sox. So a little bit of relief coming from their schedule as far as strength of schedule is concerned. Anthony Volpe, dude, I've heard this before. If that guy didn't take a picture with Derek Jeter, we would have no idea who Anthony Volpe is. I mean, and I hate to rag on people because I'm not in the big leagues, never sniffed it. I played in college, but that's about it. But man, seeing this guy play shortstop is rough. It's rough to see him making so many errors in the field. Even I saw some stats about his hitting. He's out of the qualified hitters, out of X amount of at bats or whatever. He's dead last in every single one. So Yankees still have a shot in the AL East there. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a Yankee hater. Everyone thinks I am, and maybe I am, but it's for a good reason. It's because I like what they were when I was growing up, and they're not that anymore. I like the guys on their team. I like everything about them except for the way they play baseball. I hate it. I think last year it was a waste of talent. If you're not going to play the game the right way, then it doesn't matter who's on your team. And they were just so bad, and it's gotten either worse this year or the World Series and the 5th inning of that game put them under the microscope this year. And now you're just seeing it more. People are paying attention. But I mean, like you said, Volpe, it's the bottom line is it used to mean something to be a Yankee. If you were going to be the Yankees shortstop, that's because you were a dude. If you were going to be their right fielder, that's because you were Paul O'Neill. If you were going to be their center fielder, you were Bernie Williams. And if you weren't Bernie Williams before you got to the Yankees made you Bernie Williams. Like everybody that was there was a dude. And now I think these guys today are just victims of the past success, right? You expect something out of Volpe, but like you just said, he's been here 3 full years and he's not good. He's just not good. The problem is he's the Yankees shortstop, so you expect him to be good. But Volpe is not a good right now. I'm rooting for the guy, but he's just not good. So I think that's where people are missing this. It's like the Yankees are not a good baseball team, number one, and some of the guys that they have that you expect to be good, you only expect them to be good because they're in pinstripes, and that's it. There's no other reason that you think they should be good. So 10
great branding.
Yes, exactly. And 10, I'll give them 10. I mean, only because it's the bottom. I would personally put them lower, but if we're going to go 1 through 10, yeah, I'm sticking them in the 10 spot.
Crazy because this past offseason, they added arms, right? They went and got Max Fried. Currently, right now, the Yankees have the 17th best ERA, 4.02 ERA from their pitching staff. So something that was supposed to be their beacon, their something that they can hold on to. Like, we got a great starting staff, great bullpen. That hasn't panned out. They're 17th in the league in ERA. So you couple that with poor defense, giving teams extra outs on top of piss poor plate appearances. It's not a recipe for success.
Not a good combo.
Not a good combo. Moving right along, Jake, the team that is inevitable. I think you already know. You just say it. They're inevitable. You know who it is. The Houston Astros. Houston Astros, man, and they've been doing it without Yordan Alvarez. Yordan Alvarez has been sitting in my IL spot on my fantasy baseball team. He's collecting dust, dude. He's been there forever, man. They're doing all this without him, right? They got a 3-time All-Star, former Rookie of the Year, who's still only 28 years old, in Yordan Alvarez. God knows when he's coming back. He's been out since May 2nd. But pitching for the Astros, it's always pitching. And they just look like they're just going to be there, just like they are every single year for whatever reason. Jeremy Pena has had a great breakout season. I picked him up in fantasy as well. A lot of these young guys, Isaac Paredes, Cam Smith, making contributions. So Astros there, they're always going to be there. They have always been there for a while. So Astros there at number 9.
Yeah, I'll keep it short with them because Yordan Alvarez, I think, is my favorite hitter in the league. I love that dude. And this is the first year I think I look at the Astros. I respect any team that goes on runs, right? And I'm not talking about a season run. I'm talking about Tiger Woods' entire career. I'm talking about Michael Jordan, the greats. The Astros, yeah, you can throw the cheating in there, sure, but this is going on 10 years almost of they're in the hunt every single time. And to me, this is the most impressive one because I think I even made a video 2 months into the season and said, is this the first year in recent memory that nobody's afraid of the Astros? And sure enough, here they come. And I don't know that people are afraid of them, but if they're there, you have no choice but to go, well, their odds are as good as anybody, truthfully. So I like what they're doing. Truthfully, I think they're going to be, if they're in the mix, man, they're as dangerous as anybody.
And they have control over the AL West. With the Mariners right behind them. 2 games behind the Astros are the Mariners, and that's going to be a close race as well, as far as postseason is concerned. Number 8, Jake, we got the surging Red Sox. Roman Anthony starting to feel it a little bit. Now, he's one of the best players in baseball right now, pretty much every aspect of the game. He just looks solid. He looks like he belongs. Red Sox. Do the Red Sox take over the AL East? Or the Blue Jays? We're going to get to the Blue Jays in a second, but what are your thoughts on the Red Sox, how they're playing as of right now? They just embarrassed the Yankees. We just talked about that. They embarrassed the Yankees. I saw some kind of stat. They getting swept in New York hasn't happened in 120 years. So the Yankees did avoid that, but still a great series.
Yeah, it is. I like it. I like Boston for stories. I like the Roman Anthony story. I like seeing him come into his own a little bit. I like seeing him hit that bomb and pimp it, and everyone's like, he's arrived. Like, I like to see a guy like that kind of put the icing on his own cake of, I'm here with a bomb like that against the Yankees. That's, for any Boston guy, that's it. That's what you want to do. So you want to win your fans over, do it against the Yanks. So I like them for those stories. I don't see them being a team that does any damage, real damage in the playoffs. But I do like what they're doing. I like their team. I like seeing them have a little surge here. Again, I don't know what it is now, but I looked, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, and still my favorite stat of the year is, since the Devers trade, they had the third best record in the league, and the Giants had the worst record in the league. And I'm talking, this is worst record over Colorado, everybody. And to me, I just love that, because it's they gave him away for nothing, basically, and said, fuck it, you don't want to be on the team, don't be on the team, we'll be better off without you. And I just wish teams would look at that and go, hey, that might be something to learn from. You know what I mean? The chemistry and all that is way more important than the talent. So big fan of Boston this year. Don't see him as a late threat in the playoffs.
And how crazy did everybody look at Boston's front office when they said, we are a better team without him? Everyone's like,
Yep.
What are you talking about? Eggs on your face.
Yep.
Turned out to be true.
Yep. It's a beautiful thing, the roller coaster of the fans, right? You get rid of your franchise guy, and what the fuck, everybody's pissed. And a month and a half later, you're like, best move ever. You're like, yeah, just ride it out. Let's see. But that's what makes it what it is. That's what everybody wants. So I always preface everything I say when I critique guys. I'm like, look, I know more than anybody. I'm the guy on the couch. Like, I'm not saying I'd do anything better, but, you know, and I was telling that to a big leaguer.
Self-aware.
Like, yeah, I was telling that to a big leaguer, and he's like, no, we like it. You know, obviously don't like the criticism and all that, but we like that people like you guys, us, do this, because that's what promotes the game and people talking about it and people caring. If nobody cared, we wouldn't have a game. So it made me feel better about just throwing my opinion out there and saying, fucking, here you go, big leaguers.
Yeah. Right. Why do you stink so much?
Yeah.
I mean, they know. We know we're self-aware, right? We could ball a little bit. We're probably, I mean, we're definitely better than most men our age. We played at a higher level, but obviously, yeah, we're not big leaguers. But you know what? We want to talk about it. We want to work in this space. We love the game. It all comes from love. Like we were just hating on it. We wouldn't watch it or whatever. So yeah, it's a, isn't that like a saying? It's like haters are just, it's just like a something about love. Like it's a misconstrued conception of love or something.
I have no idea. Possibly. I get called a hater a lot every time I talk about any Yankees judge, whatever. If I wear a Dodgers hat and talk about anyone else, I'm a hater. It can't win.
Oh yeah. People know you, Jake. They know everything about you. They know the teams you root for, everything. Wow, why is he wearing a Cardinals hat? I thought you were a Dodgers fan. You're a fake. Yeah. All right,
No
bro.
doubt.
Kick rocks. Yeah. Speaking of the Dodgers, now this was so they're ranked number 7th here. I didn't think about this. This was a rule that was brought up because we do have a unicorn like Shohei Ohtani. So Shohei, we all know, starting pitcher in the postseason. Shohei is allowed to, you know, as the postseason's getting closer, he's allowed to start games as the pitcher. If he is removed 6th inning, 4th inning, whatever, he's still allowed to bat. But if he were to come in as a relief pitcher and he vacates his spot, he loses his spot in the batting order. And I didn't know that. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Obviously, I don't think they have any plans to use him as a relief pitcher unless it's, you know, a really crucial spot or something. But I just thought that was a cool little wrinkle of something that we have to think about this postseason. And, you know, everyone, the writers and everyone say, oh, they're not going to use him as a relief pitcher, which is valid. That's fine. But it just makes you think, like, well, you know, if there's a tough spot or something and, you know, Tanner Scott's not looking too hot. It's just a cool wrinkle that you have to think about. Like, he's going to vacate his spot if he has to come in and relief pitch. So, yeah. What'd you think about the series?
The series went probably as I expected. It's hard to even take too much from it. But to your point on Shohei, I agree. I think his hitting is way too valuable for them to even have to worry about that. I don't think they care at all. They're going to either start him or not pitch him. And if they do pitch him in relief, it's going to make sense. You know, it's whatever, finish the game. Everybody else is gassed. Go throw an inning if you can in the ninth, and we're not going to worry about you hitting. I mean, this is the same team that used Buehler to go get one out in the World Series last year after throwing 100-something pitches a day or two before. But I don't think they're worried about that at all. I think that's just a talking point for curiosity. And it is interesting, but I don't think they're worried about that. The series went exactly as I expected. And I only say that not to say I knew it was coming, but the Dodgers sweep them a week or two before, and it's the only bright spot in their season for the past 2 months. The only bright spot. They have not played well. They haven't done anything good. They sweep the Padres, and then they go split with the Rockies. I didn't expect anything out of the Dodgers, and I think the Padres are very good. So watching them win the first two, and then they dropped the third one, but I think the Padres are the better team, and it's hard to take anything away from this series because in a month with possibly Kike, Muncy, Edman, it's an entirely different team. And then you call in some pitchers like a Kopech or whoever's in the Sasaki, whoever's down in the minor leagues, and Kim too as an infielder. I mean, there's 4 guys that if you plugged into the Dodgers lineup, they go from 7th on this list to 1st immediately. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to take a lot away from that series. I mean, the only thing I took away from it is that the Padres are a force to be reckoned with, and they're very good. I think they're good. Do I think they're better than the Dodgers right now? Yeah. Do I think they'll be better than the Dodgers in a month if everyone comes back? No. It's hard to say.
The Padres are ranked above the Dodgers here. The Padres, they have them ranked 6th. We're going to clip this up because I think the Padres are going to win that division for one reason. Not one reason. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. For all those reasons that you mentioned. I mean, the bullpen is nasty. They're a very good team. Like you said, a force to be reckoned with. But the Padres have the easiest schedule in baseball moving forward. 13 of their last 31 games are coming against last place teams. So their strength of schedule, very weak. And I think that is going to help them kind of propel past the Dodgers now that they're not playing each other anymore. And until those guys come back, like you said, the lineup does look very different with those guys in the lineup, but to be determined until that does happen. So strength of schedule, these Padres can really gain some ground by beating up on these nerds. Love doing it. Love beating up on the nerds, betting against the nerds. But they do have the easiest schedule moving forward. 13 times they're playing last place teams. So pretty interesting if you ask me.
It is interesting, but is that what you want? Do you want to play the worst schedule for a month and then get a bye week and then see the Dodgers or somebody that's been rolling, playing not good baseball, but good team? Is that who you want to be? I don't know.
They're playing 13 of their final 31 games are coming against last place team. So little less than half, right? Less than half. So you are getting a chance to get some wins, get some momentum, maybe rest your guys. We don't got to throw everybody in the bullpen. Everything's not high leverage situation. And then you're still getting competition in there as well. But yeah, dude, I want to play fucking nerds. Yeah, I want to get as much of a lead as I can, rest our guys, beat up on some nerds, get some good competition, maybe another Sunday night game, nationally televised game, Friday night on Apple, whatever you want to do. But yeah, I want to give me some momentum, some confidence, whatever it is. I don't see it as a something bad that's like, oh, we're playing all these shitty teams and now we're going to perform shitty in the postseason. Because like I said, it's a little less than half, but that's my thought. I don't give a shit, dude. Like if I want to ring, I want to ring. Just push past the Dodgers, make them play in. Okay. And there's a lot of talk on that too. I'm not a fan of the bye. You look statistically, a lot of the first round buys get bumped. They get bumped over the last couple years. So I don't know if there is an advantage to. I always say if I'm playing my best baseball, I want to be playing every day in October. Mm-hmm. And I know, because nobody's worrying about load management in their arms. It's all go in October. Everybody's going. So I want to be, if I want to be playing my best baseball, I'll be playing every day. I don't want to sit 5 days like it's the All-Star game and be sitting, twiddling my thumbs. But who knows? You make the Dodgers playing. Yeah, I'd rather have you guys playing, use up some arms, some whatever. That's my thought.
Yeah, I agree. However, I guess if I was going to make it to the divisional series either way, right? Is it, I guess, what do they go? The divisional series is that what they start with? Divisional championship and then you go to the World Series?
Yeah, wild card division.
Okay, so if I had to arrive at the divisional series and I knew I was going to get there 100% with either route, I'm taking the wild card momentum. You know, 4 days before the wild card or the divisional series starts, you don't even know if you're going to be in it. And then you scrape past somebody and you're like, all right, boys, we got it. We're in. Now you get this borrowed time feeling. And I would rather play through the playoffs with the borrowed time feeling than a we're supposed to win feeling and any day of the week. So if I knew I was going to get there either way, I would choose going through the wild card.
Right. But that's the thing. We don't know if you're getting there either way.
Yeah.
Right?
So obviously in this
crazy
situation,
things happen in a 3-game series.
100%. In this situation, get to the divisional series before the postseason starts. You know, no, skip the wild card, ideal. But I do think there's a slight advantage mentally, even playing wise. Like you said, you're playing 3 games versus sitting for 5-6 days. I just think there is advantages to being the wild card winner than there is getting the rest, unless you really need the rest.
The Dodgers also have an advantage and they hold the tiebreaker. So if it does come down to it, which it very well might, because they are tied right now, the Dodgers do hold the tiebreaker over the Padres. So maybe that'll come into play. Hey, chop it up back there. We might use this later this season. It might come down to the Dodgers owning that. Yeah.
Real possibility.
All right. Here we go. Number 5. We're taking it back to Chi-Town, the north side. Chicago Cubs, baby. Just when you thought that they were out, they were 9 games back of the Brewers. Everyone thought it was over. Kyle Tucker, what happened? My finger. Why didn't they sit him? Blah, blah, blah. Cubs are now 5 games back from the Brewers. Kyle Tucker looking great. They just swept the Angels. He went yard 3 times in that series. They said he needed a mental rest. Okay. They made it very clear he needed a mental rest. And it wasn't a physical thing. It was a mechanical thing. So that's what Craig Counsell was emphasizing. Blah, blah, blah. Some days you're watching the game, you don't have to worry about performing, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, Cubs are right there. It's exciting. They're a very exciting team. They can score runs by the bunches. They can score every inning, which I very much enjoy because you can get to the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, and they can put 2 or 3 runs up real quick. Daniel Palencia, I love him coming out of the bullpen, closing down games. Gas, absolute gas. He comes out to gasolina. Another one, maybe that's an episode we need to run, is best closer entrances. That's an episode right there we got to run because Tyler Phillips also has one for the Marlins. I don't think it's deserved, honestly, but he comes out to Stone Cold Steve Austin while he slaps himself, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
I would say so.
You know, I mean, to an empty stadium in the middle of the day, it doesn't have the same.
It doesn't have quite the effect the rest of them do.
Yeah, but Cubbies, Kyle Tucker's playing well. Cubbies are playing well. They're only 5 game backs of the red hot Brewers. Thoughts on the Cubbies here?
Yeah, I would like to see the roller coaster season finish on the up for them. That's, you know, they were the best team in baseball early, playing very well. Then they just tanked it away, playing very poor. And now they're kind of looking like they're playing pretty good again. A Kyle Tucker reset is nice to see mentally. I know one of the things I disagreed with more than anything lately was DeRosa saying, no, you're not getting a break. I'm telling you, you're my guy. You don't need a break. We're winning and losing with you, living and dying with you. I'm like, man, 162 games, guys struggling. A day off could be incredibly more beneficial than trying to play through it. So I love to see that he took the day, 2 days, whatever it was, a doubleheader, I think, or whatever. And I'm not going to say he's back. He had a great weekend. Hopefully it stays that way. He keeps seeing the ball well, but man, you get PCA going, and that team is as good as anybody. I mean, they're scrappy. They got some pop. They got some wheels on the field, bases. I like them a lot. I would like to see them just finish the roller coaster that has been we're so good, we're so bad, and I'd like to see it finish on a we're so good and make a run in the playoffs. I'd prefer to see the Dodgers win it all, obviously, but I wouldn't mind seeing that team do well too.
Matthew Boyd has been probably one of the biggest surprises. 36 years old, guy coming out of not really nowhere, but really, he's having a fantastic season for the Cubs. Cubs have the 8th best ERA in baseball. Jake, had a question for you because these were my thoughts here in handling the Kyle Tucker situation. Here's what happened and how the Cubs handled it, and I thought they handled it correctly. A lot of people had issue with this. So Kyle Tucker, I think it was June 1st, slides into second base, fractures his hand, right between the pinky and the ring finger, right in here, fractures his hand, hairline fracture. He gets imaging. They find out it's a hairline fracture. He sits out the next game. He pinch hits the game after, and then he's back in the lineup full time. During that month, after he came back on June 5th, he hit over 300 and had an OPS of over 950. I think it was 972, something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Raking, right? My thought, you understand it's a hairline fracture. It's not, it's something to monitor. Give him the day off. He wanted to play. You can't just throw a guy on the IL. You're done. Sit down. He wanted to play. He's in a contract season. He wants to do anything to help the boys. That's a dog, dude. That's a guy that wants to play for your team while he's still hurt. Okay. And then he goes on a month-long run where he's smoking hot. Okay. And then obviously we saw what happened. He fizzled out. Things look really bad. Mechanical issues. I don't think the Cubs handled that the wrong way. You got a guy that wants to play. He's raking. Why would I sit you right now? You're cool with playing. You want to play, and you're playing at a high level. And then they find out later, obviously, it might have been nagging him a little bit more. But I think that's how I would have handled it. Give the guy the option, and if it's piss poor play, sorry, bud, we're sitting you. You're going to take a rest. How would have you handled? Do you think that was handled correctly? Because there was a lot of talk about that.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm sure there was some kind of talk internally with the doctors saying, hey, he wants to play. What do we do? And they probably go, he's not going to make it worse, whatever. They know that if the Cubs allowed him to play, that means he could have played. It's if they put him on the IL, it's because they have to. You can't just go, I want to play and go, okay, we know your leg is broken, but go ahead. So an injury like that, I guarantee it was an entire discussion of how will it affect him? How can he play through it? Is it going to be this, that, or the other thing? And it was a calculated decision to let him do what he wanted to do. But I agree. If I have a guy telling me I want to be a dog, I want to be out there, I'm looking for the yes, not the no, right? I'm talking to the doctors going, what are all the reasons he can play? Tell me. And do they outweigh the bad? And obviously in this situation, I think they did. I don't think there's anything wrong with it either. In today's game, man, it's like busted my fingernail. Give me 3 weeks off. Sorry about it. So to have a guy that wants to be out there, you got to do a lot for me to say, no, you can't be out there. And the struggles to me I liked it. It was I needed a little mental break because the struggles to me, it's a 162 game season. If you don't have one, good for you, dude. You're one of the 1% that didn't have a bad streak. And, it's like you could sit there and go, holy crap, he's won for his last 40, but you're like, that's 11 games. That's half a month. Like, It really isn't that much. It's in the grand scheme of things, 40 at bats is 10 games. So you're talking about 1/16 of the season. He had a bad streak. So I think we like to blow these things up because when guys are good that go bad, it's crazy. Just like PCA, he was so good that when he went so bad, you're like, there is zero middle ground here. But it's part of a season. And for somebody as young as PCA blowing up the way he did in the beginning of the season, this is like part of a career, right? It's not just like, okay, Tucker's been good. He's been very good for a while. PCA has not. So to watch him do what he did and then fall off, it's a whole different thing. But Kyle Tucker's a vet. Really, he's a veteran. Been there long enough with the Astros doing his thing, and PCA is not. So they're two different things. But that's why I look at a Tucker and say, I'm a vet. I want to play. I want to do my thing. And it's funny to call him a vet. How old is he? Late 20s, maybe.
Yeah, probably.
But age-wise, sure. But he's been around in successful situations long enough to be considered a guy that I'm looking at his slump as this is a slump. It is what it is. He'll figure it out. And PCA, where I see what he did at the start of the year and what he's doing now, and I go, okay, PCA is probably going to be somewhere in between as a career. It's just a whole different way to look at the two. Tucker, I go, he's going to get back to where he was, which is dominant at the plate. PCA, I go, he'll probably get back to a little over half of what he was, which will still be a good baseball player, but I don't know that he's going to go on this 7-8 year run of being the freak he was for 4 months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's, remain to be seen, obviously. But yeah, I mean, the track record's there with Tucker and it's not there with PCA. But we have, so that's the Cubs at 5. We have our top 4 Blue Jays. Now, I do think the Blue Jays are going to blow the 5-game lead they have in the AL East to either the Red Sox or the Yankees. They currently have a 5-game lead on the Red Sox right now in the AL East. I do believe they blow that. I believe that they will not win the division by the end of the season. As of July 27th, so a month ago, less than 2 days for a month, July 27th, the Blue Jays, and Jake, what is the one thing that you cannot have in the postseason? A bad bullpen. Blue Jays, as of July 27th, the worst bullpen in baseball with an ERA of 6.21, which is not what you want to have if you're going into the postseason. Saturday night against the Marlins, they became the only team in baseball during the modern day era to blow a lead in the 9th, the 10th, and the 11th inning and still win the game, which is crazy.
That is crazy. I don't know who that's worse for, them or the Marlins.
Yeah, right?
Hey, the team blew the game 3 times for you and you still walked out of there with the L. I have not watched the Blue Jays enough. I don't know enough about them other than to say, and this is going to sound real stupid after what I just said, but I just don't believe them yet. Certain teams can pop up and look really good for a season. Blue Jays, maybe a season and a half, if you kind of look at last year and go, they're going to be good. I just don't believe them yet. And there's certain teams that pop up and look very good, and I believe them. I believe them right away. I just don't believe this team to be who they are yet. And it's probably going to be one of those things where they got to win. They got to win a World Series for me to go, okay, or make a run and really put together a postseason. I go, all right, next year, I believe them right out of the gates. But for this year where they're at now, I just do not. I don't believe them yet.
I completely agree, Jake. And as soon as you said that, there are teams that pop up that I do believe. Instantly thought of the Brewers, and we're going to get there in a little bit. But that would be. Would you agree? Those are one of the teams, like you said, that would pop up where you're like, that they are who they say they are. They are who we thought they were. You know, like that is they are playing the way they are. We're not going to see the fluctuation, producing runs or manufacturing runs. They're stealing bases. But yeah, that's why I think the Blue Jays are going to blow this lead. 5 games ahead of the Red Sox right now. I don't think they win that division for those reasons. The bullpen, and we haven't seen it, right? We don't believe it.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. We are in top 3, baby. All right. Now we're getting to the good stuff. Number 3, the Philadelphia Phillies. So biggest news, obviously, Zach Wheeler, right? Venous thrombosis, whatever the fuck it's called. The guy's got a blood clot, shoulder area, done for the season, 6 to 8 months recovery time. Huge blow, right? Not just a huge blow because he's, the ace of the Phillies. Then we got Alvarado from earlier this season who just came back, who's ineligible for the postseason, which was another huge blow. But the questions around here, can the Phillies still do it without Zach Wheeler? And I say yes. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but you can argue that Christopher Sanchez would be your ace in a postseason game. You can argue that because he is going to finish second behind Paul Skeens in the NL Cy Young race. Okay, he had lower WHIP. He had a lower ERA and a lower FIP than Wheeler. There's just some stupid stats, right? So Sanchez, you got Sanchez. Ranger Suarez, postseason dog, dude. You want to see some low numbers? Go check out Ranger Suarez's stat muse. Okay, his postseason numbers are elite. He's a postseason dog. That's why I want him in the postseason. Of course, every season he starts out hot. The second half he flubbers around. He gets a back injury, pulls his lat, whatever. It always happens, and then he's just nails in the postseason. So you got him, who just was the NL Player of the Week. You got Taijuan Walker, who, Taijuan Walker, but he has been surprising the second half of the season when he's been called to do what he's been called to do. Aaron Nola, bum, if I'm just being honest here. And, I'm sure he's a great guy. But can't trust him. You can trust him to eat innings. We need someone to eat innings. We got Aaron Nola, right? And then you got Jesus Luzardo, who's been up and down all season. He's been good as of late. Ranger Suarez just had his last start, career high in strikeouts, 11 strikeouts, his highest in his career. That's what I want to see going into the postseason. The lineup has been hitting very well. They're stealing bases. Trey Turner is looking elite. Bryce Harper's back. Kyle Schwarber he just reminds me of Dexter Fowler when the Cubs won. It was like, you go, we go. You start the offense and we'll keep it running right after you. So I say all that by saying, yes, it is still possible for the Phillies to make a run without Zach Wheeler. And the mantra around here is win it for Wheeler. So that's what we're riding with. And, man, I'm so excited for Red October, dude. So excited. So Phillies are ranked number 3. Also, another quick stat I had here. Strikeouts, I believe. Phillies second in baseball in strikeouts. You can't just get that with one pitcher, Zach Wheeler. There's a lot of swing and miss in this rotation, in the bullpen. Second most strikeouts in baseball. So that is statistically why I do believe that they can get it done. A lot of swing and miss.
Who's first?
In strikeouts?
In strikeouts, yeah.
The Houston Astros.
Of course. Let me say this about the Phillies real quick. You are a Phillies guy, so I have nothing to add on top of what you said, other than number one, for Wheeler as a person, huge bummer. Hope the best for him. Obviously, very random, just not a good situation for the Phillies. Incredibly unfortunate timing. If it happens a month earlier, they got the trade deadline to figure out how to replace him a little bit, but that was not the case. So that sucks. I think, right? Timing wise, it happened just after.
Correct. But they also do have Andrew Painter waiting in the minors. I don't know if you know Andrew Painter, number 1 prospect pitcher who was supposed to be up here after the All-Star game. Didn't happen. He had a couple of stinkers. So they kept him down there. But I'm going to let you go. I'm going to let you finish. But also, when do you bring him up? Do not wait till October, bro. Okay, because they made a mistake. They made a mistake in 2002. I'm just going to tell you real quick. Orion Kirkring was a rookie. He made 3 appearances in October before they made him pitch the most important innings of his life in the postseason. And I think that's a mistake. You better get him up here quick. If your plan is to use him in the postseason, get him up here now. With 7-game lead against the Mets, get him some work, get him some looks, because you can't call this young kid to throw the most important innings of his life in the postseason. Get him up here now. Do not make the same mistake you made with Orion Kirkring. Go ahead.
I can agree with getting him up here if they're going to bring him up. If they know they're going to use him, get the guy here. Get the feet wet first. I look at them, and now I think Sanchez, to your point, I think that dude is an ace on 25 of the 30 teams in the league. He's incredibly good. So you're good on him. I'll say this: the Phillies are the opposite of the Blue Jays to me. They've been there. They've made me a believer without winning a World Series. Every time they're in the playoffs, I think they can win. And I think looking at their offense specifically right now, I know you just told me how good the pitching is, but the offense, there's something to be said about guys that have been there and lost, and it's as valuable as anything. You know what I mean? So looking at what they've done the last few years and their playoff pushes, this is a team they're come into the there's probably 5 teams in the league that truly come into the season with the World Series or bust, internally that really come in with it. Everyone's going to say, of course we do, but the Pirates didn't. I don't care what you say. The Rockies didn't. There's a lot of teams that really went, if we get there, that'd be awesome. But there's probably 5 real teams that go, if we don't win the World Series this season, is a failure. And the Phillies are one of them. Mm-hmm. And it takes that. It takes getting there with the same team 2-3 years, getting deep into the playoffs and not winning it to go, okay, the guys are getting old, man. Harper's getting old. These guys are aging out
too.
Yeah, so now's the time.
Schwarber, Remulto,
mm-hmm.
Castellanos in 2 years. I mean, those guys, like you said, they're getting older, and the contracts are expiring. So it's win now, because this team isn't going to look the same in a couple years.
And something as simple as a win for Wheeler can go a long ways in this sport, man. So I'm not. I think they're, what are they, 3? They're ranked 3rd. I'm good with that.
Correct. Yes. Yeah, I'm good with that too. Obviously, your ace going down is gonna hurt a little bit, but yeah, top 3. Gotta agree. Most surprising, probably in the top 3, the Detroit Tigers. Right, Detroit Tigers are running away. They're going to own the AL Central. No problems. The cool thing, we talked about this a little bit before, home field advantage throughout the AL playoffs. The Tigers have not had home field advantage in the postseason since the 2006 World Series. So
that's correct. I mean, 20 years.
As a guy who has interviewed Tarek Skubal, I mean, that's got to be pretty cool, right?
Yeah, and it's no surprise, man. I mean, he is, I'm sure, the captain of that team, which is odd to say as a pitcher, and I don't know that they name a captain, but the unspoken, every time he takes the mound, that's the Detroit vibe. That's the grind. That's the guy, right? He's incredibly good. He busts his ass. He's competitive as shit. That's the guy that you want representing your team. And when it just so happens that guy is not a left fielder that hits 240, he happens to be your ace in the Cy Young and a Triple Crown winner last year and doing it again this year. It's a pretty good guy to have do that. So the leader by, it's like the old, you're born to be a leader or you're not. He's born to be a leader who doesn't look like he tries to be a leader. He's just doing what he does. And it comes with such a personality and a culture to the man himself that it fits into Detroit, all this other stuff. Yes, he's a good dude. I like him a lot. These are the 2 teams. Well, let's throw the Brewers out there too, because we're down to 1 and 2 now.
Yeah, we know who it is.
These are the 2 teams that for me, I think they got it right as far as if I'm looking at World Series winners and you tell me, again, the wild card for me is the Dodgers team. If they're a whole different team in a month, different story. But as of right now, the Brewers and Detroit, to me, they play a brand of baseball that is hard to slump, right? They're not sluggers. That's all they do. They don't just hit bombs. They don't rely on the big swing. They don't rely on their pitching because their offense isn't very good. They don't rely on the offense because the pitching isn't very good. They are well-rounded. They have good staffs, pens, closers, whatever. Pitching staff, good. Hitting, good. Defense, good. It's not like, offense, powerful. That's a huge plus, but the defense will let them down and the pitching shaky. It's just, you're consistent across the board. Everything you do, all 3 facets of the game, your starters, your bullpen, and your I should say your staff, your defense, and your offense are all good at a high level, and none of them are drastically different than the other. That, to me, between them and the Brewers, is how you win ball games. That's how you win when it matters. You don't have to come up with the big hit. You just need 9 good innings of consistent ABs, and you don't need a pitcher to go 7.2 shutout innings to get a win. You just need him to do his job. And that, to me, those 2 teams, they look like the most, favorable teams to win the whole thing because they don't rely on any one thing too much.
The one thing that stands out to me with the Brewers, they are 2nd in baseball in stolen bases. And that comes down to manufacturing runs. And that reminded me a lot of the 2003 Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks were fast. They put pressure on you. Corbin Carroll's legging out triples. You're stealing bags. You're getting guys in scoring position. Speed kills, right? That's what they say. Speed kills. And if you're able to get guys in scoring position and manufacture runs, you rely a lot less on those home run balls, hero ball, right? We need you to come through. We need you to drop a 3-run dinger. We're manufacturing runs. We're hitting singles, doubles. We got guys in scoring position. So that stood out to me as very good possibility why they are so successful is, I mean, they're second in baseball in stolen bases, and that just leads to runs.
And that's the thing too, that the addition to that is last year the Dodgers won the whole thing. They bunted 10 times in the regular season, 162 games, and then they bunted 10 times in the playoffs, another 10 times. So when it comes down to winning baseball and getting guys in position, that's what you're going to do. You're going to move them over and you're going to try to get the hit. But now you get your leadoff guy on and you're stealing second, and now you have second base, nobody out. Instead of sacking him over, now you got second base, one out. Gigantic game changer. Now that ground ball to the right side moves him to third with one out instead of moving him to third with two outs. It's insane how much a stolen base helps you compared to having to sacrifice an out to move a guy over. And teams that don't like to sacrifice outs, then they're just trying to score a guy from first, and that's when the big swing comes into play, all that stuff, or multiple hits in a row to score him. A stolen base is insane, what it does really on the whole stat sheet of moving into position without sacrificing an out. So, yeah, the Brewers, man, they play a brand of baseball I really love.
They went on a 14-game win streak, which was incredible. That was so fun to watch. This weekend, though, they did have a little bit of trouble with their bullpen. They gave up 7 runs in the 6th and 7th inning on Saturday, and then they blew a lead in the 9th on Sunday. So they were, honoring Bob Uecker. They all wore Uke on the back of their jerseys, which was really cool. They played videos of him, he's just a baseball icon. Awesome to see. But yeah, their bullpen was a little bit shaky this weekend. Obviously, that could be, just a little shit in the toilet or whatever. But, just something worth to monitor now that their lead is down to 5 from the Cubs, which was at 9, I think, like last week.
Yeah, I don't look too much into that personally because there is a more mental than physical, but there's a strain putting a winning streak together like that because you want it to keep going and you're playing to keep it alive. And then once it ends, you're like, okay, like now we're mentally out of that mode into another one. Your pitchers who've been coming in, and it almost makes everything high leverage for a while, right? Like win number 12, you're coming in a tie game in the 8th, like we're trying to get to win 13, keep the streak alive. It now becomes high leverage, whether that game's real important or not. So it's almost like going through, I'm not going to compare it to a postseason, but the postseason mental grind, if you end up going, 2 or 3 series or end up getting the whole thing done, it's a good 20 plus games of completely different mental state of mind. So I don't look too much after any kind of collapse, short collapse in the pen or whatever it is after a streak like that. Just like these hitters, PCA, Tucker, you went on an insane tear and the mental side of that feels good while you're in it, but then you start going downhill for a second and the mental negativity creeps in a hurry. So the mental game of baseball, even when things are going good, can affect what happens when they all of a sudden start not going great. So I'm on board with Milwaukee. There's a letdown at some point in the season all the time. And if that's what it is for them, is a couple late inning bullpen blowing a game, cool. Give it to me and let's finish up. Don't let the Cubs catch us and we're going to be all right. So I do like them a lot.
That's our power rankings.
That's it, man. I like it. I think where'd these come from?
MLB.com from Will Litch.
Okay. Don't know who that is, but I'll take it. I'll take I don't know that I would switch much. In all honesty, I don't know.
You're splitting hairs at that point, if we're being honest.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, you are. And even if you're trying to move teams, I really think that as of right now, this is the correct list. That's how I'd write it up.
Trying to see if I would, if there was anybody after 10. Mariners are at 11, and I think that's a team worth mentioning that could possibly break the top 10. Obviously, I think 2 games behind the Astros right now. Cal Raleigh MVP type season. The Mets are there at 12. I'm not sold on the Mets. And then the Reds after that. And I think it just gets like shit after that. So I think you could argue Mariners possibly in there. And then if you really believe in the Mets, I mean, their play hasn't backed it up. So I really don't think right now, as far as power rankings go, you can't put them in there.
Yeah. And I would go ahead.
That was just one thing I was going to say for this series. I think this is the series where the Phillies step on their neck and really just put their teeth on the curb and go Edward Norton and just bang, knock their teeth out. And, then they fall back to 7, 8, 9, 10 games back and then kind of really deflate them. If they were to sweep, they're not going to sweep. That's not going to happen. But I think this is, kind of just establishing your dominance, setting your nuts on the table. It's at Citi Field, so we'll see how that goes. But this is a great opportunity for the Phillies to really push them apart in the division.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. That's a series I'm absolutely looking forward to. I love when there's a lot on the line late in the season. It makes it fun because at the end of the day, I talked to Nigel Morgan actually this morning about today and players shaking hands and patting each other on the ass on the field. And he's like, man, we didn't do that. He's like, we did after the game here and there, but I wanted to win. And I made the point where I said, as a fan, I don't want to see the best players in the world, which is what all these guys are. I don't want to see the best players in the world play baseball. I want to see them compete in a game of baseball. That's what I want. Every day. I mean, 162 games is what it is, but this is where they get to start competing every day, trying to win every game for real. You know what I mean? It's like every at bat matters, every pitch. So this to me is what the best, in my opinion, obviously best sport in the world. This is where it gets real good is these guys are competing. The money they make doesn't matter. Nothing matters for another month. We're here. We've grinded through this season. Now let's try to finish. And you get competition. And when you have the best, most talented people in the world competing at those things, that's when it just gets beautiful. So I'm looking forward to this whole next 2 months, man. Love it. And that's it. Yeah. Like you said, MLB power rankings. Did we approve or disapprove? I don't think we hold the power to do either one, but we did give you our opinions. And I think they're good opinions because we care about this game. But Sheffield Shuffler, man, good to, again, have you on board, have you available for these chats whenever we're both feeling like it. Give it to the people. I'm sure we'll come up with some schedule that puts us on the screen in front of these people consistently. And pumped to have you here, man. This was a nice little first chat for us.
Jake, one of the most endearing things I find in a person is if I can talk ball with them. If I meet, how many times you meet your wife's friend's husband and you're like, fuck, what am I going to talk to this guy about? Yeah. Do you hunt? Okay. You hunt. Yeah. You killed a deer. Cool.
You rock climb. Fucking nice.
Yeah, right.
Don't give a shit.
Matcha. Love it. Great, dude. When you go find a guy that's just like, I just love talking ball, I just love talking. So finding someone and having someone to talk about it with, give your opinions, just talk about it. We're both fans of teams and the game. It's really like that means a lot to me. Like if I could talk ball with somebody like that, it has like a place in my heart where I'm just like, damn, I love this. You find a guy at the bar and you're just like, oh, you start talking ball and you're like, man, dude, I really enjoyed myself tonight.
Yeah. No, so yeah. I appreciate that's where it gets to. No, it's good. I'm the same way, man. Anytime you can sit down and have a conversation about something you truly enjoy with somebody, you're in good standing. So let's we'll chop this one up, get it out to the people, and then I'm sure this is one of many, man. Especially now because we're coming into, like we said, the best part of the year. And this is where the content, daily matters and we're watching, we're paying attention. So we will wrap this one up and we'll catch everybody on the next episode. Appreciate you guys for being here. If you've made it this long staring at Sheffield Shuffler, shit, you deserve a trophy, baby. We will see you guys later.